Can we talk about this just so that like our title isn't completely ridiculously inaccurate?
Yeah.
You can show the screen. The newly unsealed filing in U.S. District Court in Chicago alleges that Lil Durk was behind the January 27th, 2022 killing of Stephen Mack, 24, who was shot to death shortly after he exited the Youth Peace Center of Roseland on West 111th Street. At the time of his death, according to the FBI, Mack was the leader of the Smashville faction of the gangster Disciples. So, for the record, this is not charges that have formally been put on Durk, but these are things that were, I guess, mentioned in paperwork that was filed by the feds to explain why they don't want Durk to get bonded out. Basically saying, we have reason to believe that there are other murders that he was basically responsible for that they are investigating and might end up actually being put on him, which to I think a lot of people is basically synonymous with Durk being royally fucked.
So they didn't file the charge. They just unsealed the documents saying that he was linked.
Exactly. And a lot of people are assuming that in the future he will be charged
like
with this.
that's just to a setup for the jury, like some extra stuff to sit in there when he's about to go to trial. Like also he was linked to this, but they're not gonna file it. But with his defense team, they won't allow that into trial unless they file that murder case. They won't even allow that to be spoke about.
And you essentially already said it, Brick. But beyond it, whether it's admissible evidence or not, it's more things that lead to the court of public opinion. So, like, if you look back at like famous cases, like with celebrities, like the OJ thing, they went out of their way. It was really difficult for them to find jurors on that didn't like know who he was, and they had to go out. Today, that would be impossible. When you're dealing with a star of Durk's caliber, even who's way less, you feel me, famous than OJ. You know what I mean? But still,
well, they probably find a bunch of old ladies and shit who don't really know about Durk, right?
But that's not a jury of your peers. You know what I mean? You have to. So both the defense.
It don't matter. It ain't your peers. It's just regular taxpayer citizens, and they call them your peers because it's not like they have to be of your age group or nothing like that. You can have somebody from any age on your jury. Like, it's not direct peers.
Correct, but you don't necessarily have to have somebody.
Talk about correct. Like, he fucks me up with that.
No. But that's not the point, though. Like, the point is that both the prosecution and defense both choose through a process of elimination who the jurors are.
Yeah, they try to level out and pick.
So if it's only old ladies or whatever you were saying,
it can't just be old ladies. I mean, but
that's what you were saying, bro.
No, I didn't. What I'm saying is, it's not your peers. You said that you have to pick your peers. It has nothing to do with it. It could be all people over the age of 45 in there. It don't have to just be all old ladies. It could be all 50-year-olds in there.
You're right.
It doesn't have to be young people in that building in order to make a jury.
Right, but most likely, it has
your
to.
Juror,
you're right.
Your lawyer is gonna try to pick the best juror for your case to relate to you. So
that's the point.
He might not qualify. The judge might see some bias and then kick your pick out because the DA knows what you're doing. So they're already trying to kick that guy out too. Like that same guy you want, they want his ass out of here.
Right.
And they're going to fight for it.
Exactly. So there has to be a middle ground, a consensus formed between the prosecution and the defense and the judge.
It's just luck of the draw.
I mean, to an extent, but like I said, there is.
He tried.
No, I mean.
You're right, Lesh. How about that?
Right,
You're right.
They try to arrive at something like your peers, but that could be difficult because they also don't want it to be people who are already intimately familiar with this.
Exactly.
Correct. Which is increasingly difficult in this era of social media.
Because Durk's peers, well, I mean, it's millionaires who have emerged from the hoods of Chicago that are like extremely gang related. It would be tough to find peers who are like that much of his peers. But then also it's like, you're never going to find a bunch of people from like the slums of Chicago who are his peers that don't also
have
know all
felonies
about
and
this
shit.
case before it
Yeah.
even takes place.
No,
yeah.
but there are people that might not necessarily have a preconceived negative opinion about him just based on the way he looks or the way he sound, or the type of music he makes. There's a lot of people that just look at rap music. They might even look at like for example, my chiropractor was talking to me like, this Kendrick Lamar guy is super negative. There needs to be more. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
The most positive rapper in the
Yeah.
world.
No, obviously there's somebody, and he's like some like Jewish dude in his 60s. But this is
he's a
his
Drake fan.
No, he has no clue
A
about
Jew
anything, but
Drake
this is
fan.
his perception of what the music is. So essentially, people are having these big preconceived notions based on things that we're completely overlooking. Like I see a dude like Kendrick, and I'm like, oh, like I'll walk to that side of the street with my purse if I'm a girl. Like you're not gonna steal anything. You know what I mean?
That's why
But-
it was funny that Andrew Schultz had a joke that was basically like, oh, this is who we're going to listen to about how we should treat women, rappers, which sounds like a good joke until you like think about it for 2 seconds. And you're like, oh, the rapper that he's referring to is Kendrick Lamar, who in terms of his like public treatment and things that are public at the very least, seems like he has a pretty immaculate track record with women.
Right.
Besides maybe a little adultery thrown in there. But, for the most part, it's like,
AKA being a human being.
you can't really find any fucking Kendrick lyrics that are like anti-woman in the sense that a lot of rappers have songs that are negative towards women. But that was a good joke from Andrew Schultz from the perspective of him telling that joke to an audience who largely doesn't really know that much about Kendrick.
Right, and they don't see a difference between Kendrick and Pooh Shiesty and whoever, you know what I mean, or whatever rapper they want to vilify.
I feel like with all these media outlets and just Law and Crime and all the news and all that, it's almost impossible not to know about the Durk case. So you're gonna get some kids and some white people. He got fans of all colors, and you get what I'm saying, to where it's gonna be biased on that regardless. Just like with the Yak, with Yak Gotti and them, you think it wasn't no YSL fans on that motherfucking trial? They was not, especially when they had the right to say that they was not guilty after they just got drugged through a year and a half of trial. Like, oh yeah, not guilty. I don't give a fuck what fine you talk about.
Well, if I'm the prosecutor on that, I'm literally like looking into you to the point where I know your Spotify account and I'm seeing your playlist. And if you have anything related to Young Thug or adjacent trap music from Atlanta, you are off the jury.
You can't even, you gotta get damn near search warrants to do that.
But you think they'd be doing that though? Even if,
I'm not talking about that.
and that's
You
what
don't want to talk about this?
Hell no. That involved too much police shit to talk about.
Okay.
I said what I said.
What is Holly K?
Ooh.
Just what it sound like.
Who's Holly?
I'm not talking about that shit.
Okay. Damn, we finally found something that is too mixy for you to discuss, huh?
It's like that though. So it's like I ain't even finna get at no light.
Yeah, I don't really fully understand this one. I might have to have it explained to me by somebody at some point.
We'll talk off.
I'm not
camera.
even gonna lie.
Fuck cuz. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy because
Because for me to say what's going on, it'd be some police shit. You get what I'm saying?
Got
So it's
it.
like, a motherfucker can't even dive into that type of shit.